I was privileged to have worked with him for almost 2 decades, and it was a pleasure to work with him. On the 11th of July this month, the Tshabalala family and we, with them, were struck by the news of the passing of Stanley Tshabalala. We've been in mourning since that day when he ceased to breathe. And it has been said to all of us to have lost him in the manner which we lost him. We in the football fraternity were in particular struck by the passing of a legend. We're struck by the passing of a stalwart. We're struck by the passing of a veteran. We're struck by the passing of a master. And why do I refer to him as a legend? I refer to him as a legend because he was famous in football, which was his life. Why do I refer to him as a stalwart? Because he was loyal, reliable, and hardworking in football. Why do I regard him as a veteran? Because he has a long experience in football. And why do I refer to him as a master? Because he showed great skill and proficiency in football. One of the founding members of Kaizer 11, which later became Kaizer Chiefs Football Club in the late 60s and early 70s. He was appointed by the Executive Committee of the South African Football Association to be the coach in 1992. As Doctor indicated this morning, he constituted a team, and Doctor related how he was ultimately selected to play for the team. It was a 3-match series. The first one was played in Durban, where Doctor scored the only goal, and we won that match. I don't want to talk about what happened, Mr. Minister, in Cape Town. Doctor explained to us. Subsequently thereafter, we played the qualifying matches against Nigeria. He was a coach. We lost by 4-0. We played against Zimbabwe in Harare, the same score. But what is remarkable to me and to us in football, that he did not have an international experience. He did not have these new certificates, level A, B, C, D, whatever, so that he had the ability to lead our team. He was brave. The executive sent him in there to swim, and he did not sink. I appreciated that for him. He was on television the other day explaining how he constituted that team, that the late Solomon Stix Mirewa, who was the Secretary of SAFA then, said he must, from each and every team, he must select a player. I don't know how possible it was going to be, but he did that. And we managed to begin to constitute a national team and play international football. He was the first coach of our national team. And we want to thank him for that. We want to thank him for that. he was forced to leave the organization. He was forced to leave that coaching position. Those who followed South African football will understand or knew that one of the journalists started to criticize him and told him how efficient he was, forgetting where we came from as a country when it came to international football. And because he's a human being, because all of us at different times of our lives, when people unfairly criticize us, we take exception. And emotionally, he attacked that journalist and he left the association. I'm not condoning what he did, but because of the circumstances and conditions at that time, he felt it was correct. During my term of office as the president of football in our country, we had a vacant post of a team manager, and I approached him to fill that position of a team manager of a senior national team. And I believed that he had qualities, let alone what he did at school, but he had the ability to lead people. And I felt at that point in time that he made a contribution to the development of football in our country. And he accepted that position. We all know that when we played against England in Durban, he was our team manager. That when we went to Japan and Korea in 2002, he became our manager. And we thank Screamer for that, being a manager of the national team. When he came back, because of the loss, we decided to restructure everything as far as the management of our senior national team was concerned. And our journalists, with respect to them, they started again once more to show that he was not one of the best. And you remember there was an article, those who read the newspaper then, when he sent a letter out to the club of Benny McCarthy that he must be released. He did something else, and he was attacked for that. I read on the 14th of this month in the City Press an obituary by Timothy Mlobi indicating how Stan lost his position. Because of those attacks, I thought it was wise to remove him from the limelight. And I called him and said, Stan Mcheku, I think you must move away from the limelight. And we made him a technical director. He called me President. I don't know whether it's Chinese or French. President. He said, "Jwale ke eng eo?" Ke re, "No, ke technical director." Ha motho le technical director o tshwanela ho etsang? Ke re, o tla fumana o tshwanela ho etsang. Go and Google. Taba bohlokwa fela ko, we are removing you from the limelight. Wa bona bafana bana ba etsang. Ha motho etsa phosonyana e nyane ba ngola. Jwale ha o le technical director bana chance. They won't write anything. That team ka loser, it doesn't matter. We're not technical director. Then he became the technical director. And I must also confess, at that point in time, I did not know really what it meant. But I said, you are a technical director. When the positions of the management of the association was restructured, we needed to have a real qualified person to perform that function. And unfortunately, he had to be shifted. And thanks to Dr. Ivan Khoza, because we deployed him to Orlando Pirates. And we are still waiting for the transfer fee, sir. We gave you the best guy in town. Thank you very much for making room for him. We really appreciate that. And Mudima wetse hantle. As the unknown author wrote, I quote, "Carve your name on hearts, not tombstones. A legacy is etched into the minds of others, and the stories they share about you," close quote. Stanley Tshabalala carved his name in our hearts. His legacy is etched in our minds. He did this by serving football with distinction, integrity, and respect. And he was a brand on his own. Chomane hali temo na kajeno, onamisa emoholo. Kenete inele emoholo. As his cold body is lying in that coffin, we want to say to him, we thank you what you did for South African football. To the family, whom Melebana, we convey as football fraternity our deepest sympathies and express our indestructible appreciation of the fact that you surrendered your husband, you surrendered your father, you surrendered your son to football, and we thank you very much. In conclusion, the program director, fellow mourners, while Skrima Mucheku lived, he was a player, he was a coach, a motivator, an innovator, and we know he came with the concept of shoeshine and piano and shoeshine. A humorist. We heard this morning that wherever he was, people were laughing. A team manager who became an administrator and a technical director. I want to know who in his football career was a good player, was a good coach, was a good manager, and a good technical director. And for those qualities, allow me to borrow a line said by Mark Antony when he was talking to Cicero after Brutus was killed in the battle by the Roman soldiers. And I want to refer to Skrima as such. And I want to quote what Mark Antony said about Brutus while he was lying there. He said, I quote, "His life was gentle, and the elements so mixed in him that nature must stand up and say to the world, this was a man." He was a man. We saw elements mixed in him, and all of us, we must remember that he served South Africa, he served the game of football and did the best he could. Come on, the program director. Matsidiso Holelapa la Skrima Tshabalala. Matsidiso ho Orlando Pirates Football Club. Le rona kaofela ra itsidisa because we have lost one of us. Ke a leboha.